Hello, and welcome to this video, in which I will be describing the process of mitosis and meiosis. The similarities and differences between the two will also be identified. To start the process of mitosis, there is the interphase. The contents within the interphase contains a nuclear membrane filled with loosely clumped chromosomes. The cell grows and the number of organelles increases. The DNA located in the nucleus is copied. The next stage of mitosis is the prophase, where the nuclear membrane begins to disappear. The DNA condenses into duplicated chromosomes, which each contain 2 copies of the same DNA. The next stage is metaphase, in which the structures called spindle fibers guide the chromosome movement. The chromosomes then line up into the middle of the cell. In the next phase, anaphase, the copies of DNA become separated and go to each end of the cell. The next stage of mitosis is called the telophase. Within this stage, 2 nuclei form, and each nucleus contains a complete copy of the cell's DNA. The last stage of mitosis is cytokinesis, where the cytoplasms are divided and separate to form 2 new cells. The cells then begin the interphase. After the growth and development in the interphase, the first stage of meiosis begins, Prophase I. The nuclear membrane begins to disappear similarly to prophase in mitosis. Also, within Prophase I, the DNA condenses into duplicated chromosomes and homologous chromosomes are paired. In this stage, crossing over occurs, meaning 2 homologous non-sister chromates pair up with each other and exchange different parts of genetic material to form 2 recombinant chromosomes, sister chromates. The next stage of meiosis is Metaphase I, where spindle fibers guide chromosome movement and the homologous chromosomes pair up along the middle of the cell. In Anaphase I, the homologous chromosome pairs separate and are pulled by spindle fibers to the end of the cell. The next stage of mitosis is called Telophase I. In this stage, 2 nuclei form, and each nucleus contains a complete copy of the cell's DNA, and the cell divides, similarly to telophase in mitosis. The next stage is Cytokinesis I, where there are 2 diploid daughter cells. From the diploid daughter cells from Meiosis I, the next stage of meiosis is Prophase II. Within this stage, the nuclear membrane begins to disappear and the DNA exists as chromosomes. The next stage, Metaphase II, is when the spindle fibers guide the chromosomes to line up along the middle of the cell. Moving on to the next stage, called Anaphase II. In this stage, the copies of DNA are separated to be sister chromates, and the spindle fibers pull them along to each end of the cell. The next stage of meiosis II is called Telophase II. In this stage, 4 nuclei forms and the cell divides into 4 new cells. The last stage of meiosis is Cytokinesis II, where there are 4 haploid daughter cells. Both mitosis and meiosis take place in the cell nuclei, and they both involve cell division. The process of both occurs in the M phase of the cell cycle. Both stages have the common stages of metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and prophase, even though they slightly vary. One of the main differences between mitosis and meiosis is that mitosis produces only 2 cells from one parent cell using 1 cell division, but the process of meiosis, it produces 4 new daughter cells with 2 division cells. These divided cells resulted in containing haploids, meaning they have half of the original material of full diploid cells. Mitosis also has no crossing over, while in meiosis, crossing over takes place and variation occurs. Mitosis and meiosis is the division of cells to make new cells. It is an important concept because this process is vital to the existence of living things that reproduce sexually. Without these processes, there would be no gametes that make reproduction possible, and no organisms that would grow and develop for further reproduction.